This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Katie Wolf from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, Nancy.
So before we get talking about all the wonderful things coming up, I want to do a little brief survey about the film festival. How did it go?
Well, you know, we had some challenges because we had the government shutdown and then we had the polar vortex. But thanks to Alpena Community College, they stepped up and hosted in coordination with the Friends of Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. So the film festival went on. We had a record number of people show up for the sneak peek program in Rogers City on Thursday. And then we had more student film competition entries than we've ever had. We jumped from about 14 last year to 49 this year. So that event was packed. We had overflow, you know, for that event. So that was excellent. And then we had 5 student filmmakers that were recognized. We also had more filmmakers present this year. We had 10 filmmakers participate in our
excuse me,
our panel for the film festival, and that was fascinating.
Good.
So there were a lot of great things. We did have, the weather did impact some of the attendance, but overall we were thrilled that the program could go on, and now we're already looking forward till next year.
I bet you are. And so the next thing we want to talk about is what's fueling international interest in Great Lakes cruising.
Yes, we're kicking off our cinema and lecture series that was so popular last year.
Yes.
So we've got the full agenda now on our website at thunderbayfriends.org. In the first lecture, you know, we had the film festival in January, so our first lecture is February 21st.
Okay.
It's a Thursday evening at 7 p.m. And we have Michael Bolak, who is from the Office of the Great Lakes, speaking. He has been studying Great Lakes cruising for the past couple years, working really with an international audience and looking at what works and what doesn't, and then particularly for smaller communities like Alpena, Traverse City, Houghton Hancock, and Muskegon, and what does a community need to do to be port ready for these international cruise ships, because there's an increased interest from the international cruise ships to explore really the smaller communities in the Great Lakes. So that's pretty exciting.
And when can we come to see this?
This is, again, it's February 21st.
Okay.
It's a Thursday at 7 p.m. and it'll be at the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Center. It's free and open to the public.
And you know, this is something really important because we had a lot of tourists here last year, and I mean, I know that can, you know, give a good spike to our economy.
Right, and it does take some planning. So, you know, now's the time to start anticipating. We know that we will have more cruise ships coming in. They've already planned for this coming tourism season. So now's the time where we can kind of get ahead of the game.
Perfect. And then 12 great reasons to plan your next event at the Heritage Center. Tell me about that.
Right. Well, we have great facilities at the Heritage Center, and one of the ways we support our education and community outreach programs is by renting those facilities when we're not using them. So we have an educational room, we have the theater. The theater has a capacity, both rooms have a capacity of about 100. So if you are looking for a place to hold a training and you need to show films, or you just need, you know, a classroom setup, we've got the perfect venue for you. The caterers are very familiar with our facilities.
Okay.
We also, for receptions, we hold baby showers, wedding receptions, wedding showers, you know, all different types of events there, retirement, you know, parties. And then, you know, they've got the view of the Thunder Bay River there. We've got the rooftop, the green rooftop garden, and so that makes a really nice reception venue as well. And then you can actually rent the whole facility if you know you have a big event. So you can contact thunderbayfriends.org or just, you know, call over at the NOAA building, and Andrew Augustine is our contact for that. But, you know, you're not only having a great and affordable place to have your event, but you also are supporting our education programs when you have an event there.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
And then we want to talk about Brew on the Bay.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. I think, you know, the Brew on the Bay, I think this is maybe the 3rd or 4th year that the Rotary Club of Alpena has hosted Brew on the Bay, and it has been a smashing success. It was the reason we were able to build the Splash Park. And so this year, the 2 projects that they're focusing on, One is going to be the riverfront just outside of the NOAA building to make that more event-friendly and education-friendly. And then the other is going to be the benches along the pier in downtown Alpena. So both of those projects will be supported by the proceeds from Brew on the Bay. And all the Rotarians right now, I'm sure their businesses are getting contacted because we're building that list of fantastic gifts. I think one of the reasons it's been successful is that we have a great beer and wine tasting with lots of vendors there, but we also have great items for the live auction as well as the silent auction. So now's the time. Tickets are on sale. You can purchase them at the Chamber, at Neiman's, or purchase grocery stores. Or if you know a Rotarian like me, you can buy them as well. They're $25 each. That includes your glass as well as wonderful hors d'oeuvres and just a really fun night. We anticipate around 600 people. So it's February 28th.
Okay.
That's a Thursday.
All right.
And I think the doors open right at maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. And it is a very, very popular event.
I remember seeing pictures on Facebook and hearing about it, how popular it is. And it does sell out. So people need to get their tickets and, you know, just look for a night when you're doing some wonderful fundraising for our community.
It is. It's a really fun social event, but it also goes for a great cause.
Excuse me, yes it does. Okay, and you talk about friends, so what do we have to do to become a friend of Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary?
Well, to become a friend, really, we don't have a limit on donations. For $10, you can become a friend, and then that $10 helps support our education program, or you can give a much larger gift. But with that membership, you get a 10% discount in our Friends in the Sanctuary store. And I have a few items
please show
here. That it's Valentine's Day, it's coming close. So if you become a friend, then you can come to the store and get your 10% discount. We have these neat, colorful mittens.
Those are very nice.
We have a whole variety of fun pink jackets in different textures and sizes. A children's jacket, here's a lady's jacket. We have them in polar fleece, we have rain jackets. We also have plenty of colors for the men too. We have lots of navy and blues and browns.
And they're very affordable.
They are. We price things at the sanctuary so that, you know, a family can afford them, but then, you know, the proceeds from that also help support our education and community outreach programs, which go right back into the community.
And there's lots more things other than just clothing at the store, too.
We have some precious jewelry, really neat rings and things like that for Valentine's Day. So I encourage people to come in and check out our inventory.
Okay, so what's the best way to get in touch with you if anyone wants to ask any questions about some of the things we've talked about?
You can contact me at 989-884-6210 or through thunderbayfriends.org.
And you also have a Facebook page?
We do. In fact, our Facebook page, that's a great, if you follow us on Facebook, you'll learn about all the events that way, as well as all of the great local success stories of what, you know, students and teachers are doing and things. It's just a fun page to follow.
It is, and you have lots of volunteer opportunities always, too.
We do. We are excited that we recruited 5 new volunteers at the Business Expo this weekend.
Yay!
We're always looking for volunteers because we host some events that, you know, really require a lot of help.
Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to talking to you next month.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Please stay tuned. I'll be right back with some information from Besser Museum following these messages. Hi, welcome back. Both of my last guests are both from Besser Museum, and I have John Winkowski and Amanda Kacharik. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Nancy.
So as we were talking before we started taping this segment, you said there's so many things going on at the museum. Tell me what's going on.
All right, well, first things first, we have our Winter Blues non-jurred art exhibit coming up.
And so the opening for that exhibit is February 13th, so that's in the evening. It catches you right before Valentine's Day, so you've got something fun to go out and explore. We've got some really talented community members who brought in all of their winter blues pieces. All of the pieces are at least 60% blue, so that's going to be a really fun event.
I remember seeing last year's. It's just so many unique ideas I wouldn't even think of, and you're right, we do have a lot of talented people in our community.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then what else?
Well, we have our art and astronomy kids program that we've been working on, and our first art and astronomy program actually was last Saturday.
And how'd it go?
Well, we had one kid come up, but he loved it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the weather's kind of a little iffy this time of year too, isn't it?
Absolutely, that polar vortex and all sorts of other bad weather.
Cool. So what did the astronomy part consist of?
So our astronomy part, we were talking about star creation and just pretty much what stars are made of, how they're formed, and all the really interesting details that you never really think about when you look up at the sun.
Oh, very good. And the art, what was the art project?
So in the art project, we were working with some chalk pastels, and we were designing our own kind of abstract nebula creations.
Okay.
We used 3 pieces of black paper to make like a triptych out of it. So it was really neat. It was really fun. So we're hoping to kind of come up with some new ideas to extend these types of programs towards people in the community. These activity days are for kids aged 8 to 11. And we have 2 more coming up, and so those will be on February the 23rd, so
Okay.
still have time. And each event costs a $10 fee.
Okay.
And so you can come in and register for those events at any time at the museum. If you need more information, we have lots through our website or on Facebook.
And those are on Saturdays, correct?
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Okay. Well, those sound like really fun things to do, especially like we said with this weather, get out and get a chance. Plus, they're having fun while they're learning about
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
astronomy.
Oh, it's a ton of fun, and that was the great part about we have so many great things at the museum, and so we were really able to feature that at these types of events, these educational.
Okay, so what else is happening?
So our other art and astronomy program coming up in March is actually going to be Hawaii themed.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we're going to take a dive into all sorts of really interesting scientific aspects about Hawaii and what makes it unique, and not just the fact that it was our 50th state.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to go over as far as like the ecology and the environment, the geology and how those volcanic islands formed,
Yes.
and also the just absolutely beautiful night sky that you can't get anywhere else in the United States.
Very true. I've been to Hawaii and it's just amazing. You don't want to go to sleep because you don't want to miss anything.
It's just too beautiful for words.
It is. And what will the art project be?
That one we're still working on,
Okay.
but this one's going to take place on March 30th.
Okay.
And so that's one of the great parts about this is that when we get to utilize some of the technology that comes with the planetarium, we can experience what it would be like to be in Hawaii, especially when it gets so cold up here.
Wonderful.
It's kind of nice to pretend for an afternoon.
Good.
So we're really excited.
So what is the normal show now at the Sky Dome? What are you looking at now? What can we see if we go there now?
So if you go there now, we have a few different shows. We have our always popular Did an Asteroid Really Kill the Dinosaurs?
Okay.
Which explores astronomy and dinosaurs and how the possibility of one space rock could have wiped out all the dinosaurs. Yeah, it's surprisingly deep.
Wow.
Yeah, we also have, let's see, Habitat Earth, which is a just general staple that we like to keep on. That's about the ecosystem and the food web and how all of these tiny little plants and animals are connected in ways we never would think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so what time are shows this time of year?
So this time we keep shows on 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 4 o'clock, Wednesday through Friday.
Okay.
On Friday, we have shows starting at noon and going until 4 o'clock, starting every hour. And then Sunday, we just have shows at 2 and 3.
So there's really a great schedule of time for people to be able to come and see the shows.
Absolutely. We keep it open so that everybody will have a chance to at least see one show a week.
All right. Anything else exciting and fun going on?
We do. So coming up in the springtime,
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else has noticed this yet, but this year is the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission.
Yes.
And so we're going to be really celebrating and exploring all of the different parts that came into play to make that happen. We're going to have some really, really interesting displays coming up. So that would be April that we'll be able to start seeing some of those things.
We'll probably get things in starting April, but really open up around May.
Yeah, we'll have all spring, the summer, we'll be able to explore those things and really, really celebrate it. So that's...
It's an important part of American history, so it will be very exciting.
Definitely.
And everybody has a story about where they might have been at.
Yes. Everybody remembers.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we've been looking for. So if anybody has a story of where they were and what they were doing when they saw the moon landing, we'd love to be able to share it with the community. So if people would just be willing to contact us, whether Facebook or just a phone call, we'd be more than willing to document that monumental experience for them.
Oh, very good. And what will the Sky Show be during that period?
Well, we're hoping that we'll have a very special Apollo-themed and space flight show going on. But we're just going to have to see how things work out before we give definitives.
Okay.
There's
Well,
definitely going to be something that
Right,
has to
there's
do.
always good and fun stuff going on there, and I'd just like to encourage people, if you've not been to the museum, you need to go. It's so wonderful, and it's neat and clean and tidy, and there's so much to see everywhere you go, and it's such a wonderful part of our history. So I encourage people, especially, you know, during these snow days. Are you open during snow days?
So long as the college is not closed.
The college is closed, you're closed. Okay, that's good to know. So that's a good place to go with your children on a day and let them actually learn something instead of
Yes.
sitting in front of a computer at home or playing on their phone.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we've got the science, the history, the art. It's all there.
It
so
is. Anything else you want to add today?
I believe that's it. But I mean,
Covered
it's hard to
everything?
say that that's it because
I
there's
know.
so much.
I
Yeah.
know, and it's just a sample of what goes on. So thank you both very much for being here, and I'll look forward to hearing more wonderful, exciting things.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You too.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College. It's Friday morning as we tape this. We've had two weeks of historically bad weather, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to share with the viewers and folks out in the community what the process is for our calling classes, canceling them or not. Over the past 2 weeks, we've had 4 days that the college was closed, 3 days last week, today, and we've had 2 days where we either had a delayed start or canceled classes in the afternoon. And we recognize certainly the implications of having to cancel. It's absolutely something we don't want to do, but I want to share with you kind of my thinking on it, because ultimately I'm the one who decides whether we cancel or not. So we have two main priorities in my thinking. One is student and staff safety. That is absolutely paramount. And the second is instructional quality and instructional access and what we offer, what we deliver to students, what students pay for. And that is equally important to me and the college and the staff. Those two during during the winter season can sometimes compete. And you have to decide, is it too unsafe to have people come in to take a class at ACC? So another factor is that we have a very, very large footprint. We have classes being delivered from Sheboygan to Eau Grais and to the west, as far west as Joburg. And the weather conditions in that region can vary significantly. What might be ice and blizzard in Presque County, northern Presque County, in southern Iosco County or Aranet County can just be rain. And it has significant implications on a decision-making process. We have two campuses, main campus in Alpena, of course, and we have a campus in Oscoda. And again, those two conditions can vary quite a bit. But here's the process and the thought process I employ. On a day when we feel weather could be dicey, we will have somebody, generally Nick Breggy, our facilities director, but if he's unavailable, I will do it. We'll go out to get up early, maybe 3:30 or so, and go out and look at the roads. So I did that this morning, for instance, and we had a wicked ice storm come through yesterday, Thursday afternoon, in which we closed early. But the roads were slippery. So I drive out and I look and see, okay, how dangerous is this? And sometimes it's not an entirely clear call. Today the roads were slippery in town. The salt trucks were out. The intersections were salted, so folks who lived in town If that was the only students we had, I probably would have said it's safe enough to come in. That's certainly not the case that all our students live in town. Many of them come from quite a ways off and drive in. And that can be from Alcona, it can be from Hillman, it can be from Rogers City. And so they not only have main roads to get here, fairly main roads, which oftentimes are the first to be addressed, they have side roads to navigate to get here. So this morning, the roads, all of them were icy, except where they were salted at the intersections. I drove out Worth Road and angled onto some side streets to get a feel for what it was like. The issue that about 3:30 in the morning, which kind of changed things, is the roads were icy, but you could see where they were icy. But at that point, fairly hard snow started coming in out of the west. You could see it was very windy and brisk. And so it quickly covered the side roads, all the roads. So you couldn't see where the ice was. And to me, this is a determining factor. It made the conditions unsafe. And I called school. There's basically three kind of areas of weather that we deal with, and one is, you know, a huge snowfall, and that's pretty clear to folks when the streets are plugged and roads are plugged with snow, that school should be called. The second area has to do with extreme cold. This is a really touchy call. And we've dealt with it quite a bit, especially last week, where is it too cold if it's 0 degrees and there's no wind and the roads are okay? It's a gray area. You know, it's northern Michigan, it's cold in the winter. Is it too cold when it's 0 and 15 degrees or windy at, you know, 15-mile-an-hour wind? Then, you know, that's a different deal. The concern, of course, is that people drive in, something malfunctions on their car, they get stuck and they get frozen. So it's a very tough call. The third has to do with ice, and you know, a thin sheen of ice, if the temperature rises, turns to water, and it's not a problem. Ice like we had yesterday, which coated the windshields and made the streets very, very treacherous. If the temperatures don't rise and in fact plummet, then you're dealing with sheer ice, black ice, and that's extremely dangerous. So these are all things that I grapple with, and you know, I endeavor to, as I said, look out for the safety of our students and staff. That's paramount, absolutely. And then you know, we're striving to do the best we can through this weather situation. It's been 2 weeks. Many of the schools that we work with have had, out of the 10 days of school this week, they've been out 9 days. So in my 28 years in this community and then at the community college, I can never recall a stretch like this, but we'll get through it together, and thanks for trusting us, and thanks for supporting ACC. If you have any questions about the decision that I make on this, feel free to call me. I'm at 358-7246. Thank you very much, and safe travels.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.